cow-eating trees to the amazing Mossman. Here are 10 of the most bizarre plant cryptids.
Welcome to Crypto Fun Fridays.
So, Intrepid Intervener, well, they suggested a list of plant cryptids for this episode, and it turned out the idea took root and grew on us. So thanks for that inspired suggestion, Intrepid one. And if you have an idea for a future episode, just let us know in the comments. Cheers! Number 10. Capre. This is a type of tree demon that is found in the Philippines. They're said to stand up to 14 feet tall and are extremely hairy and bearded humanoid creatures that reek of goat. Capres are known to have a fondness for sitting in trees, especially mango and bamboo, among others. And while sitting there, the cryptids seem to enjoy smoking a pipe. They're not considered especially threatening. In fact, they're known to develop an attraction to certain humans, even to the point of following them around. Reports of experiencing their enchantment includes rustling tree branches, even when there is no wind, and seeing red fiery eyes near a tree at nighttime, along with lots of smoke emanating from treetops, and actually seeing a capre walking about in forested areas. While some of the creatures are considered more intelligent than others, all the capre tend to share one behavior in common. They seem to enjoy watching over farm animals, even to the point of guarding and protecting them. Cactus cat. Now, this cryptid has been reported in the southwestern US. They were first described by pioneers in the 19th century and were said to resemble bobcats that had thorn-like fur, a branched tail, and sharp bones that protruded from the front legs. The critters were observed to come out at night and slash open cacti to drink the exposed sap. Attacks were rarely reported, but some cowboys were known to wake up with welts on the body, thought to be the result of the cat's barbed tail. The eerie wailing sound was said to resemble that of a puma, leading some cryptozoologists to speculate this cryptid may have been a misidentified puma. But other sources claim that these creatures were actually a type of cat and cactus hybrid. Cow-eating tree. Now, maybe you recall the kite-eating tree that made life difficult for Charlie Brown. Well, did you know that in South India, there have been reports of a cow-eating tree? Locals there have reported stories of carnivorous trees that have grabbed cattle and humans alike. In one instance, a cow that was left to graze was suddenly grabbed by branches and yanked from the ground. But before the tree could feast, villagers struck at it and landed enough blows to make the branches release the bovine. No official inquiry was made, but the incident might prove that stories of such trees in the region are more than mere folklore. Nari Pond. Native to Thailand, these creatures are found in jungles there. They're said to resemble creatures that are half human, half plant life, and will attack passers-by in the jungle by throwing rocks. Because so little is known about the alleged cryptids, it's still unknown if they are fake or if they actually have a basis in reality. Leshy. Known as a male forest spirit, this creature appears in Slavic folklore. It often appears as a tall, pale-skinned man with hair and beard composed of vines and grass, although he's sometimes depicted as having hooves, horns, and a tail. Often seen in the company of bears and gray wolves, the Leshy is thought to protect wild animals and trees. In fact, the creature can assume the shape of plant life ranging from a blade of grass to towering trees. While some accounts describe them as mischievous, other accounts offer a darker perspective. In those accounts, the Leshy is said to be a temperamental creature that enjoys abducting children and luring human travelers to the caves where the victims are tickled to death. Yateveo tree. While this carnivorous tree will prey on larger insects, it's also known to have a taste for human cuisine as well. Reports indicate it grows around secluded mesas in Central and South America. The trees are said to have a short, thick trunk with huge tendril-like spines radiating from it. The spines have barbs that resemble sharp, pointed teeth, the outer ends of which lay upon the ground. Its trunk appears to be an empty couch, perhaps functioning to lure in weary prey. Once a victim steps into that circle of spines, though, they're suddenly encircled, as if trapped there by anacondas. The tree uses its spines to crush its prey, squeezing all the blood from the carcass. Some accounts claim the tree actually has an eye it uses for locating prey, and that would seem to tie in with the tree's name. Translated from Spanish, Ya te veo means, I see you. Honey Island Swamp Monster. This one is kind of reminiscent of that comic book character, the Swamp Thing. It's been reported in and around Louisiana's Honey Island swamp since the 1960s, and is described as being covered in thick, matted hair and swampy reeds and vines. Standing nearly 8 feet tall and weighing more than 500 pounds, it has yellowish reptilian eyes and is said to emit a foul stench of rotting flesh. It's long been blamed for the disappearance of children and the death of local livestock. There are a lot of unusual theories about this critter, some of which involve it being a bizarre type of hybrid of an ape and an alligator, while other sources claim it's a hybrid beast of plant and animal. According to witnesses, tracks found in the swamp indicate the monster has 3-toed webbed feet, leading some experts to conjecture that it, whatever it is, evolved to live in swamp-like environments. Did you know that due to its hairy appearance, this swamp thing is sometimes called the Louisiana Wookiee? The Devil Snare. That name refers to a strange form of plant life that is said to be found in Nicaragua. It has the ability to drain the blood of any living thing that comes near its reach, and that is largely based on the account of a naturalist who encountered the phenomenon while studying the plant life of Central America. The man claimed that his dog became ensnared in a network that resembled rope-like roots and fibers. Locals referred to the plant life as the Devil Snare, and they had many stories of its lethal nature. As near as could be ascertained, the roots and vines were comprised of countless suckers, which could grip its victim so tightly that flesh would be torn away should they try to extricate themselves. Normally closed, the suckers would open wide for food. If it ensnared an animal, the blood was drained and the carcass was discarded, but the plant's exact nature is still unknown. The Lamb of Tarter. This legendary cryptid of Central Asia is also known as the vegetable lamb, and it's said to have been a true hybrid of human and plant life. According to some accounts, the sheep was grown from a plant that sprouted from melon-like seeds. It's said to have had authentic bones and blood, and may or may not have had true flesh, depending upon the source. The creature was connected to the earth by a stem, not unlike an umbilical cord, which kept the lamb propped above ground. The flexible stem allowed the lamb to feed off of the surrounding grass and plants, but once the plants were all consumed, the lamb would die, after which the creature became edible, and its blood was said to taste like honey. Wool from the creature would be used by locals to make clothing. Now, a creature similar to this called the Yedua, if I have that right, well, it also appears in early Jewish folklore. Now, it sprouted from a stem and appeared to be lamb-like, but this cryptid could be far more aggressive, attacking anyone who ventured too close. Some experts think these tales may have helped provide the origin story for the Lamb of Tarter. And before getting to our number one choice, here's something we found interesting, so we're going to give it an honorable mention. Now, you may have noticed that a number of our plant cryptids have been trees. Well, this honorable mention is not actually a cryptid per se, but it's definitely scary enough to sound like one. The manchineel tree is known to produce a toxic white sap that can cause a severe allergic reaction simply by brushing against it. The skin can blister if a person is standing underneath the tree during a rainstorm when runoff sap is produced. Attempts to clear these trees by burning them resulted in toxic fumes that suffocated workers and resulted in temporary blindness. A poisonous fruit is developed that can cause abdominal bleeding and shock if eaten. The lethal plant was bestowed the title of World's Most Dangerous Tree in 2011 by Guinness. It's found in Florida through South America, where it's also known as the Árbol de Muerte, or Tree of Death. So even if it isn't a cryptid, maybe it should be. Mossman. This cryptid was first reported in and around Florida in 1978 and was said to be a bipedal humanoid creature that is covered in foliage or green moss. Cryptozoologists, or maybe in this case, cryptobotanists, think it may have grown the moss in order to better camouflage itself in order to capture prey. That is understandable considering the creature is said to stand over 7 feet tall and weigh over 400 pounds. The closest encounter was documented in 1980 when a couple was strolling through the Red Reef Park in Boca Raton. When they stopped by some foliage, they saw the shrouded creature staring back at them with shining amber eyes. Now that couple ran off, but by the time park officials returned to investigate, the creature was gone. Some sources indicate the Mossman's origins can be traced to a Native American curse that was levied against Spanish conquistadors in the 1500s when a princess was tied to a tree and killed. According to legend, the tree was infused with a spirit, as was all the surrounding plant life. The Mossman was formed to drive out the conquistadors and avenge the princess.